Anchoring bias is one of the most powerful and subtle cognitive biases. It shows how the first number or piece of information we encounter can strongly influence our judgments, even when it's completely irrelevant. This concept was studied extensively by Daniel Kahneman and described in detail in his book, Thinking Fast and Slow. What is anchoring bias? Anchoring bias occurs when we rely too heavily on an initial reference point, called an anchor, and then make adjustments around it. The problem is that these adjustments are usually insufficient, leaving our final judgment biased toward the original anchor. Our fast, intuitive thinking system uses anchors because they make decisions easier and faster, but not more accurate. In one well-known experiment, participants were asked whether the percentage of African countries in the United Nations was higher or lower than a randomly generated number, such as 10 or 65. After that, they were asked to estimate the actual percentage. Even though the number was clearly random, estimates were strongly influenced by it. Higher anchors produced higher estimates. Lower anchors produced lower ones. This demonstrates how deeply anchoring affects judgment, even when we know the anchor is meaningless. Example 1. Pricing. Imagine a jacket first priced at $300, now discounted to $150. Even without knowing its true value, the second price feels reasonable because the original price set the anchor. Retailers use anchoring deliberately to shape our perception of value. Example 2. Salary negotiation. In salary negotiations, the first number mentioned often sets the tone for the entire discussion. If an employer opens with a low offer, negotiations tend to stay closer to that number, even if the market rate is higher. The anchor doesn't determine the final outcome, but it strongly constrains it. Example 3. Personal judgments. Anchoring also affects non-numerical judgments. First impressions, early labels, or initial opinions can anchor how we interpret future information. Once an anchor is set, our brain interprets new data in relation to it. Why is anchoring so hard to avoid? Anchoring happens automatically and unconsciously. Even experts, judges, doctors, and economists are influenced by anchors despite their training. Awareness helps, but it does not eliminate the bias completely. How can we reduce anchoring bias? While anchoring can't be fully eliminated, it can be reduced. Delay judgment when the first number appears. Actively consider alternative anchors. Ask what the value would be without the reference point, and use external benchmarks and data. These steps engage slower, more deliberate thinking. In conclusion, anchoring bias shows that our judgments are not as independent as we believe. The first information we encounter shapes our thinking far more than we realize. Understanding this bias, as highlighted by Daniel Kahneman, allows us to make more deliberate, informed decisions, especially in pricing, negotiations, and everyday choices.